Hello there, Jax here. Today I'm gonna share with you a story of a professor. The professor I'm gonna talk about is not an ordinary professor. His name is Sergio, and he's considered a genius in his town. He's a professor of psychology in University of California, Los Angeles. There are rumors that the professor has an IQ number of more than 132. One day, professor left the college earlier than expected due to cancellation of classes. It was drizzling when he left, but as soon as he hit the road to his home, it started to rain heavily. Professor was driving carefully when someone signaled him to stop. He slowed his car and stopped. It was Tony. Tony recently had shifted to Los Angeles from New York. Tony is a New Yorker, and due to Professor's friendly nature, Tony and Professor had become friends in no time. They both live in the same neighborhood. Professor lowered his window and asked, "Hey Tony, where you up to in such a weather?" Tony, just coming back from an important meeting. Was going back home, but my car broke down. Professor, come on in, I'm also going home. Tony thanked Professor and got into the car. Professor stepped on the accelerator and said, "Such an unexpected weather." Tony, "True that, Professor. I guess most of the things in today's time are unexpected. You can't even predict what's gonna happen to you the very next moment." Professor, "What do you mean, Tony?" Tony, "I had a meeting in a restaurant where I saw your wife. I was about to go there to greet her when I saw a handsome guy coming in and join her. I tried to recognize him, but I never saw him at your place. The way they were meeting showed that they're good friends, or might be more than that. By the time I left the restaurant, your wife's hands were on that guy's hands." Professor, "What do you mean, Tony? Are you serious?" Professor slammed down the car and politely asked Tony to get off his car. Tony, "What the heck? What the f*** is wrong with you, Professor? You wanna leave me in the middle of the fucking road?" Professor, "Yes." Tony, "You fucking dumb f*** you, Professor," and Tony left the car. Professor then went to some random place and got out of his car. Professor was missing his wife badly. He saw some random guy riding a bicycle. Professor asked to borrow his bicycle. The guy let the professor to ride his bicycle. Professor started singing and riding a bicycle. Professor was crying. He was singing, "I feel you. Anyway, in every tear that I might shed, in every word I've never said, I feel you." After the whole scene, Professor returned to his car. He speedily drove the car and reached home in less than 15 minutes. It was the most dangerous drive of his life. Professor entered his home in a fearful manner. He was in anguish, unable to figure out what to do. How could his wife be with someone else? How long is she seeing this guy, and why? This feeling of being betrayed was killing Professor. He didn't know what to do. Professor tried to calm down and started to look for the possible solutions to relieve his pain. Professor thought, "I should divorce her, but this is what she might want. I shouldn't go easy with her. She betrayed me and she deserves some good lesson." Professor's wife was the love of his life, but now Professor has become vengeance for her. Professor decided to kill his wife and leave this place forever. Professor packed his luggage and sat by the door. Clock struck 8 and his wife was still not home. It was still raining heavily. It was 9, then 10. Rain didn't stop, nor had Professor's wife returned home. Professor's rage was increasing, and as the time passing, he was becoming more determined in his will of killing his wife. It was 12 and his wife still had not returned. Professor fell asleep while waiting. After some time, Professor woke up. He woke up to his great surprise when he found himself sleeping in the sofa of his hall. "Why was I sleeping here?" thought the professor. His surprise increased when he saw his suitcase lying on the floor. Professor remembered the whole story what Tony told him yesterday. He got up with a jolt, and suddenly everything got cleared. His wife was still not home, and now he knew why. Because Professor wasn't married.